I didn't get finished. All right, what's up, man? Welcome back. It's been a long fucking minute, and I'm on some bullshit tonight. I'm just gonna keep it real, right? I'm on some bullshit tonight, and I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna say what it is. I'm speaking from a place of pain, right? It hurts me,
Mm.
and I'm gonna talk about some sisters. It hurts me to see some of the anger and bitterness I see in old some. Let me clarify. Some older single sisters that are, I'm gonna say 35 and up, that are serially single, not married, not having a long term relationship,
Mhm.
and usually have kids,
Mhm.
right? I listen to, and again, I've been doing my research, bro. I'm gonna keep it all the way real.
Mhm.
I've been in these Facebook groups, I've been looking, I'm like, man, it's a lot of bitterness. And it's crazy because what I see is a lot of women don't, if you're a black man and you date outside your race, whatever, and you poor, they don't give a fuck, right? You don't exist to them, right? But if you got a little money, it's a different story.
Mhm.
Um, and I look at this shit, and I've been paying attention to these comments and the different things. And as a man who's been in a interracial relationship for fuck damn near 35 years, I've seen my fair share, right? And that I'm probably different because that kind of shit don't really bother me. I don't give a fuck. I knew what I was getting into when I got into it. I expected more. Honestly, I probably expected more from black men and white men than black women, but that's just a reality. And I'll go as far as saying I've never heard a black man say about a black woman dating somebody outside the race, she shouldn't have did that. I've never heard it, right? Like
Mhm.
dudes like, oh, cool, big ups for her. But I'm noticing it. Like I said, it's a specific age group, 35 and up, and it's usually multiple baby mamas, multiple baby daddies, shit like that. Um, it's almost like you had this opportunity when you was in your youth, right, to get the right man, and you were cute and this, that, and the other, and you fucked it off, and now you mad because you fucked it off. And like I see a lot of older brothers, like, man, we trying to date young. Now, me personally, the young shit ain't for me, right? It ain't my thing. Um, but I understand the reason behind it,
Mhm.
right? What am I going to do if I want to start a family and I have no children and I'm 45, right? I waited long. Let's say
Mhm.
I'm 45 and no kids. I can
Mhm.
still have children,
Mhm.
right? What am I going to do with a 45-year-old woman with multiple kids, right? First off, you cannot safely have a child,
Mhm.
right? I'm an asshole if I put you in that predicament, knowing the situation.
Mhm.
So you already that's strike one. If you have kids by somebody else, that's strike two, right? If I don't have kids, why am I gonna put myself, bro? I'm gonna listen. And this is no disrespect to nobody. I'm gonna find this shit because it was. I heard the dude say this shit, and at first it took me a minute to catch on. But he said stepfathers are not real fathers; they're assistant mothers. And I said, holy shit, right? Because the way he worded it in the subsequent comments,
Mm.
he was like, "Man, you really are just assisting the mom because," and I fully respect this. As a young kid, especially a young black man, you need your dad, and there's going to be a certain point in your life where you try with whoever that man is in your life. I've had the experience with my father. I've had the experience with my son. Um, but you ain't my father is some shit you can't argue with,
Mhm.
right? But anyway, my point in going down this road, bro, is just to keep it all the way real and just say I think women and I was, if you look back and you go through all my shit, I was team woman, right? I'm here, I'm arguing on behalf of women. I'm arguing on behalf of hey, y'all overreacting as men, y'all saying all this shit. That's the women y'all picking, this, that, and the other. And I was forming this belief and this opinion based on the women I was around, right? I grew up around the woman I'm married to. So I'm like, if I'm around all these good women, y'all probably fucking up. But I took a step back. I looked through the eyes of my homies. I looked through the eyes of other men, and I'm like, I can see where y'all coming from. It's some women are more mad at a man who doesn't want to be a stepfather than they are at the man who made them a single mother,
Mhm.
which is crazy,
Mhm.
right? And they have these crazy ass standards. And I've been, bro, my boy been just blowing my shit up with this pop the balloon shit, right? And I watched this one episode, and it was 6 or 7 sisters and one white chick. And bro was decent, right? He was a standard average dude. I wouldn't even say he was probably above average. Income wise, had no kids, this, that, and the other. And every sister popped a balloon. The white chick hear him out. She's like, yeah, I like this, I like this. And then the sisters all agreeing with the white chick. I'm like, wait, y'all agreeing with her on everything she's saying, but you popped a balloon on this motherfucker, right? I was confused. I'm like, why are like I don't know if it was for uh for the social media clout or what? But I'm like, you literally are agreeing with everything she's saying about this dude being a good dude. Yeah, you said he wasn't a good dude, bro. I'm trying to understand it, bro.
No, I think at first when I was seeing when I look at these pop the balloon clips, it is weird to me. But now when I look at it through a different lens, it's good data, right? It really shows you the and it is generational. It's not. It is like a specific group or type archetype of so-called black women, but it shows you their mindset, right? I don't think that these women are actually assessing the opportunity. I really think that they are trying to leverage it to increase their value in in the dating marketplace in their minds. It really
I would say
doesn't
with
do that,
who? I would
right?
say
It
with who?
doesn't.
Other women?
No, I just think that social media, social media is a place where people can be whoever they want to be, even if it's just in their minds. When we talk about how some older or elder black women think about the interracial relationships, specifically with so-called white women and so-called black men, I honestly believe that it's an assumption that that most black men look at white women as an upgrade. So
100%
when
assumption.
yeah, it's an assumption, right? So if they see a so-called black man with resources with a white woman, in their mind, they think that he just chose her because he thinks he's dating up.
Hundred
When
percent, bro. That hold on for let me interrupt you for just a second.
yeah,
The shit
yeah,
you just said, I've read in comments. Right, I've had chicks tell me, "Oh, you think you upgrade?" I'm like, bro, I had an argument with a white chick on TikTok because she said something along the same lines. I'm like, listen, you white chicks ain't winning. I'm just gonna keep it real. To me, there's nothing about your skin color that makes you win. It's the individual, right? But you are 100. I'm gonna let you continue cooking, and then I'm gonna jump in here and
yeah,
say some other
yeah.
shit.
No, I think that's really the primary aspect of it. But I think that this shit is all deflection. I really do. I think that if it's not white women, it's gonna be another.
Passport, bro.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be. It's just. It's always gonna be a opportunity to deflect from just looking in the fucking mirror and realizing that, hey, I blew my chance. You know what I mean? And then every time I try to create another fantasy or another delusion, when I get into another relationship that's inevitably doomed, then I have to blame somebody other than myself. And who's the easiest target in America is black men. You know what I mean? That's just
Oh, 100%, bro.
it's
And I'm
easy.
guilty of it, right? Listen, I'm man enough to admit my faults. And I said that to somebody. He said, "Bro, do you hear what you said?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "You said you man enough." That means you know women don't admit their faults, right? They don't have accountability. There's always exceptions, but the term man enough is really associated with taking responsibility for some shit you did wrong,
Right.
right?
Right.
Because but listen, my guy told
Or
me
didn't do in a lot of
or
cases.
didn't do, right? I'm just
Yeah.
taking responsibility for some shit so we can move forward.
Yeah. Right. Right.
And this is reality. My guy was talking to me, and this is a brother who prefers black women. He said a lot of black women get mad because a mediocre, average, even below average white woman can get a decent, high earning black man, whereas if they wanted to cross that line, you can't be below average to get you a above average white man or Mexican man or Asian man or whatever the case may
Mhm.
be. And I sat back and kind of looked at it. I'm like, damn, you're kind of right, right? And this is the reality of the world we live in. And I thought about it. I'm like, that's some. I mean, he was on point, right? And this is again, I'm talking about a brother who damn near refuses to date anything else. He been going through it, right? But he's like, bro, this is where I'm at. Um, but when I look at the situation, right, I look at the reality of the world. I'm in a lot of business meetings, and I took it upon myself about a month ago. I said, everywhere I go now, I'm going to survey the room. I'm gonna look at all the women of all the races and look at their left hands. And bro, I don't know. Every city's different.
Mhm.
Every demographic, every region is different.
What
But I
city
will
you said you
tell
was
you,
in?
this South Bend, Mishawaka, Elkhart, all this shit around here.
Okay. Okay.
Um, I mean, I've been peeping in Chicago and everywhere else, but within a 90-mile radius of here, I see a lot of non-black women with wedding rings, right? And when I'm in those same rooms with women, so-called black women, I don't see as many wedding rings. And I have these discussions with sisters online, and like, well, I don't believe in marriage. Like, you got kids. How do you not believe in marriage? Right? Marriage ain't for everybody. I'm like, we
Yeah, I
talk
think that's
about
deflection though when they
it
say
is,
you.
bro.
Okay, all right.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I was just asking you, what do you think? You think that?
100% is deflection, right?
Okay.
Because I had somebody say to me, well, 45% of marriages fail. I'm like, 100% of, what I'm saying, single parent shit is kind of fucked up. And no
It's
disrespect to
detrimental.
nobody in
It's
it.
detrimental. No,
To
it
the
is.
kids.
Yeah, it is.
Right? I'm
It
like,
is.
you are starting relationships with motherfuckers you don't plan, or shouldn't starting, not even call it a family. I'm not going to sit here and call it a family. You are having children with somebody you don't want to be with. That's fucked up. At least if you gave it a shot, right? If you started off married and y'all had a kid in the work, well, you did your shit, right?
Do you
So
think?
shit is-
Do you think women understand that, like that concept?
they understand it because they understand it, but if it looks at them,
Do you think most women understand the idea that the standard should be, there has to be a marriage, or some, or
some
yeah,
kind of commitment.
marriage. Let's just say marriage. If I'm going to talk about, before I do anything, put myself in a position where we can potentially have a child, that has to be the standard. Do you think?
I'm 100% because if you look at the majority of women, right, that is the case. Most women are not going to just allow you to have a kid with them just because you fucking look good, right? So that was another conversation I was having with a chick. I'm like, listen, y'all complaining, y'all laughing at these dudes who are these athletes and these motherfuckers who messing with these white chicks and these foreign chicks, and they taking them to the cleaners. I'm like, y'all having babies by motherfuckers that you have to complain about not doing their part. If you gonna have a baby with a motherfucker who is not going to be in a relationship with you, at least pick a motherfucker got some money. I mean,
I honestly don't understand why we pick the most, like the standards that we try to compare ourselves to don't make sense. Like, why are we comparing ourselves to athletes and entertainers? Like,
we shouldn't.
Those are unique
That's
circumstances.
rich people problems.
Right. They like, that's not the situation for most of us. So I don't
Right.
understand why how can you look at a Kanye or any other entertainer?
I'm going to tell you what I have learned because I was wrong. I have learned, and I disagreed and argued with one of my homies. I've learned that a lot of chicks look at a chick like Sierra and think I can be her, and that's not reality,
No, it's not.
right? It's not reality. You're not going to find a rich dude, two rich dudes, the first one to knock you up and have a baby, and the second one to marry you and have more kids with you. You're not going to find that,
No, yeah,
right?
If anybody thinks that Russell Wilson, that Sierra's status didn't have anything to do with why he chose her, you got to be sadly mistaken.
I mean,
Or why,
she's beautiful, but there are much more beautiful women in the world with
right,
less
but I'm
baggage.
saying she came with, it had to been, I'm saying, like, he can look at her and say, okay, it's okay, and then it's who she had a baby by, because even though
Right.
this is somebody who the narrative is, he do too much in that space, he still got money, right? So
He's not a bum.
far from it in terms of resources. So, and then she was already Sierra before him. You know what I
Right.
mean? So,
Right.
I mean, it's that's just so, like, that's such a unique circumstance. It's not going.
I'm with you 100%, right?
No.
But I don't know, bro. I kind of feel fucked up because I've been arguing with men for a while, like y'all picking the wrong bitches, right? That was my words to people. Y'all picking the wrong bitches. But in reality, when I sit back and I start to look at the scenarios of the options most men have to choose from, they're not good, right? It's not good.
Especially at a certain point in your life.
At a certain point in your life, if you're young, that's different, right? The younger you are, the better your options are because there's not. Again, I'm not. If you've been married and you had kids and it didn't work out, I respect that, right? If you're in whatever your version of a committed relationship was, it don't have to be marriage. It could be, maybe you're from a different religion or a different something.
right.
Whatever your version of a committed relationship is.
The guy, if long as the ideal goal was to build something,
to build a family,
Right.
right?
Like
But
that.
I'm seeing, bro, and this is I'm keeping it 100. I'm only seeing black women say, I don't want to be married. I don't
Mhm.
need to be married. I don't need a man, but you
You
got
believe it?
kids.
Do you believe it?
It's
They
a
really
self
think
defense
that?
mechanism.
Okay, that's what
Bro,
I
I saw a picture of Lizzo and she lost a bunch of weight. This is the same chick who said, I love
ain't
being
that
big.
crazy? Ain't that
I
crazy?
respect the hustle. Right now, a lot of people are saying, well, a lot of sisters are saying, well, she had a medical condition, she had no choice. If listen, bro, I've been overweight. I'm still overweight. God damn it! If you're overweight, you have a medical condition. There is nobody 3, 4, 500 pounds without a medical condition,
Right.
right?
And again, Lizzo is very unique. You're not, most
Bro,
big
she
big
shot her
women.
shot at Captain America. I don't know if you've seen that shit. You know, motherfucker, the what's his name, Chris Evans. She shot her shot at Captain America, and he was gentle in the way he let her down because he knew if he was too harsh, you know what I'm saying, it was going to go bad for his career. But let's be real, bro. There was zero shot. And I think she knew she had zero shot. It was just she was shooting it publicly,
What
hoping
was she serious about? Like, or was
if
it just?
he would have went. Come on,
Yeah, of
bro.
course. Of
I
course,
mean,
if you
this
would have
this is
went, but I'm
a
saying,
physically fit, top tier actor, right?
right. I'm saying,
Uh,
was she seemingly really hopeful that he like? Was it
I
just
don't.
like I'm just?
Hopeful, I don't know, right?
I hope not, because that's more
But
delusion that I would even pin
but you
on
know
her.
this whole shit that I've been looking at lately has forced me to admit shit I already knew, but I was kind of shoveling to the side. I've got homies, chicks I grew up with, who I had a chick, bro. She used to tell me all I fuck with is bums, right? I'm like,
Was she like? What did she mean by that?
well, her situation
Is she saying that
dictated.
that's what she unfortunately attracts like that, or was
That's
she?
what she. That's what I attract. But I'm like, that's how you can't attract anything different, right? You 48 years old. You still live in the hood. Not the hood. Like I mean, you in the hood, right? Like niggas is shooting outside your fucking front door on a regular. Like nobody. You know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping it real, right? You're not going to attract a decent quality man because your environment don't justify it. He can't come to your house, right? He got more shit to lose than he got to gain. But it, I used to go like, oh, you can do better, you can be better, but bro, she probably could, but she don't want it. I think we have lowered the bar, right, to what is acceptable. There is no reason if you don't know a man. Well, if you don't know a man, you probably shouldn't hit raw. But if you don't know a man's history, I give you slightly a pass. I damn near give everybody a pass on one baby. I'm still standing on that.
Oh man, I just
I'm
think
still
that's
standing on that, bro.
That's too risky for
But
us.
but I know a lot of dudes who are real good with words, bro. Right? They're real good with the manipulation.
Yeah,
Right.
but if it goes back to what we just said, like if we said the standard should be a commitment, right? And
Right.
commitments don't happen overnight. It's not like a person
Right.
saying, "Yeah, I'm going to marry you" or "I will marry you." I'm saying like we know, like if a person is that interested in you, then I just don't see like if a woman tells me that she's serious about having a family and she wants to be married and she's willing to be married to me, right? I just don't see how she can just truly manipulate me into that with no.
It ain't gonna happen to you. It ain't gonna happen to men. It's the other way, right?
Yeah, okay,
But
it's still hard to
it is
grasp.
hard, bro. We had a homie, right? We got a homie that she done joined us a few times on here. Shit, her situation, right? And I'm at this point in my life, I'm gonna fuck who get mad at me, right? She talked on the podcast about, what I'm saying, shit, they done been 1 for 3, right? She a couple times didn't work out, and she still had a baby. My motherfucking he did. Like, there's no excuse for that.
Right. But that's what
That
I'm
kind of shit
saying.
is
What
inexcusable.
But what is it when you know that this individual is like you're smart? Like you know what I'm saying? Like I understand. It's some people out here that are so damaged that they don't have the capacity to navigate into a themselves into a healthy
Right.
relationship, right?
Right.
But when you talk to a person and you can clearly tell them like, no, if you really wanted to, you can find a healthy relationship and you can actually.
I don't think I think at a certain point you blew it, right? When you
Well,
put yourself,
okay, let me rephrase that. I'm
Okay.
saying like you actually have the skills to be, you have the potential, the competence to be able to do it. Not without circumstances aside. Not what I mean. I'm talking about, like I've actually dealt with people, and let's specifically say women, where I can tell that like, hey, you're so gullible that yeah, you it's a risk for you out here. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Versus someone who was like, hey, when you have a conversation with men who obviously that are we already understand that we're not speaking in that capacity. You actually are intelligent enough to make the right decisions for whatever your reasons are in your trauma. You actually just sabotage yourself. You don't hold yourself to the standard of of putting yourself in a position to actually have a healthy relationship. You just taking risks. You know what I mean?
It's right. You taking risk. Here's what somebody said to me, and I thought it was bullshit until I heard it from a woman herself. A lot of women will fuck with a dude who has nothing and give him access on day one, but a dude who's decent and might be a good man, good husband, good boyfriend, he gotta wait and earn it. And I'm like, that's
Why?
stupidity. Shit,
That's what they say.
I've heard. No, they didn't say stupidity. They
I'm
didn't say
saying, what
why.
you
No,
didn't.
I don't get the. I don't get the
I
why.
would have to ask.
I
For the
can't. There's
explanation
no.
for
There's
that.
no justification for the why.
It's no justification, but it can be an explanation, even if it's
Here's the truth. They like him, right? They like him. His physical, his verbal, right? He speaks good. Not. I'm not saying clear, fluent in fucking English. I'm saying he says the shit they want to hear, or he fits the mold that they think is nice, bro. We are entirely too old for anybody in our age bracket to be dating somebody who is in the streets. But that still appeals to a lot of women. A lot of women.
yeah, that's where they're
In our culture.
Let me
right?
ask you something regarding that. Do you think that has more to do with the I guess my thought is that men who I guess have their shit together, right? Like, you know what I mean, and they are probably going to be the standard of accountability is going to be different than that of a man
100%.
that really ain't. And so that and
Listen.
that okay.
I think a lot of women, and this is just my belief, a lot of women who fit that description, they need to control a man. You can't control a man who has shit, right? Most men. You can't control most men who have shit, right? Who have shit to gain, have shit to lose. You are a liability for those men, not an asset. So I think a lot of these chicks choose dudes, 6, 7 baby mamas, right? 5, 10, 15 kids. They can control that dude. He has no work. He has no history. You know, they can call if they call the police, you're going to jail because you probably got a warrant. They can control them. So I think for a lot of women, right? For a lot of women, again, I'm and this is fucked up, but I'm speaking about our culture, right? I think for a lot of women, they need to control that man because that's what they saw moms do. She had a soft ass dude in the house who probably didn't have shit going, and she was like, "Fuck you," whatever she said to him, right? He stayed. So for them, that's being strong, right? I've heard and I've seen women say, "Well, you got to take me out of my masculine era to get me." Like, bro, I could not imagine me having to change you to be a woman if you were a woman, right? Like, why do I have to make you feminine when you were born that fucking way?
Man, these are that's what I mean when I say I just think that these. Why are we so easily programmed? That's weird to me.
Well, I don't know because I've seen again sisters talk about Sexy Red. I'm gonna use her and what's the other chick name, bro? She's fucking stupid. Can't remember her name. The chick that used to be with her, Suki some shit.
Sukiana.
Right. And I'm just like, they talk about supporting her, and I'm like, why? There's no other group of people on earth that would support women like that. Right? And these women are these are chicks showing up to high schools, right? Like, that's crazy, bro.
I think I honestly, when I thought about that, I think in a very in a sad and sadistic way, a lot of so-called black women see themselves in those women.
Oh, Sexy Red is not abnormal. She's not unheard of. Sukiana's not different. These are regular chicks, bro, who got put in the limelight.
But
right, we all know
how
one
do you,
or
right?
10.
That's what I always said. That's why I didn't understand the appeal at first. I guess I don't. What I don't understand is how at you know, when these are elder women, like you said, women that are 35 and up. How do you not see that as disgusting, regardless of if you were,
because they can, bro. They can relate. You know, we had a conversation before, and you put me on game. You was like, man, I don't subscribe to the first black astronaut, first black this. But for them, that's their, you know, they relate, right? This is them being in the spotlight. This is what I mean, imagine being able to see somebody who's famous, who live exactly like you live, right? That's hope for people who who don't have another option or who
Yeah,
don't have another opportunity. I mean, what do you listen, bro? I'm just gonna keep it real. If you men and women are different, our opportunities are different. I don't. I got a homie got 7 kids, 7 baby mamas. He probably shouldn't. He shouldn't get no more ass, but he getting it. There's nothing stopping him. I don't know a chick with 7 baby daddies and 7 kids that dude just checking for. Right? I don't know that.
yeah. No, I agree. I guess, and like you said, men and women are different. I guess for me, it's like I can look at young foolish men and see myself in them as a young man. Like I remember being that foolish, right? But when I look at it now, from where I'm at, I know I'm like it's ridiculous. It doesn't matter that I used to be like that. Okay,
Right? It's just
even
still stupid.
yeah, even so, and when I can say when I was that age, I was ridiculous. You know
Bro,
what I'm
I
saying?
had this conversation. I'm like, listen, somebody say, oh man, you used to be in the streets and now you judging cats. I'm like, I was stupid in the streets. I'm not making
Somebody,
it. It wasn't
should have
good when I
told
did
me.
it. Right.
But
I was around the wrong people. Nobody corrected me. Right. I'm not gonna make the listen. I don't know who the fuck it was, and I think I hurt some feelings. Somebody posted, what do you think about a drug dealer, a gangbanger is what it was. What do you think about a gangbanger that's in their 40s? I'm like, he was garbage at the shit. If you a gangbanger in your 40s, you probably should have been dead or in jail already, my guy. Like you ain't good at the shit you doing.
yet you wasn't really gang
You
banging.
wasn't gang. That's what I'm getting at, right? I'm like, you ain't good at what you're doing because you're not really doing it.
Yeah,
Not that I want you to do that shit
I
and be
understand
great
what
at
you're
it,
saying. I understand what
right?
you're saying.
But
Yeah,
I touched some feelings on that one.
but why
Um,
though? Why would a person even? Why?
because motherfuckers who fit that description felt bothered, right? And that's I think where a lot of chicks are like, we feel the same way about. I just fucking gnat floating around my shit, bro. My bad. A lot of chicks feel like when you talk about a Sukiana or you talk about a Sexy Red, you really talking about them, right? Because they live that way, but they live that way for free. They live that way without. And to be fair to Sexy Red and Sukiana, they was living that way for free too until somebody picked them up and
Yeah,
made them a star.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
The fact that you can make them a star is crazy. There is there
That's
is
what I
no
don't understand.
equivalent Asian star that I've seen. There's no equivalent Latina star that I've seen. There's no equivalent shit. The close you got on a white chick is Miley Cyrus, bro.
Yeah, but
Right? Like
she's not celebrated by her culture like that.
not at all. Right?
So I'm not. We know these women exist in every culture. I'm talking about how we
They're
respond
not
to them.
right. And again, bro, I'm guilty of trying again. My situation was I looked at the women I've been around, and I'm like, and I've been around women of all cultures and all different places. And I'm like, it can't really be like that. Y'all got to just be around the wrong ones. I was just around the right ones, right? Uh, I see, I see too many people trying to make excuses for bad behavior. There's a post going around right now talking about co-parenting is not a flex, and motherfuckers is mad. Because dude who posted it is like, listen, I co-parent. This shit's not a flex. We
Hmm.
supposed to want marriage. We supposed to want a family.
Hmm.
And the people that are really upset but they are co-parenting, right? It applies to them. And I've said this 1,000 times, bro. Somebody make a post about a short, fat, bald motherfucker. I can't be mad. I was all that before. You know what I'm saying? Like, your post didn't make me this. I was this. This is on me. But I don't think many people can, especially when you get to the other, when you get to females, they don't take that accountability, bro.
Man, you know one thing. I'm not a person to generalize, right? But I have to say that, and I know it has a lot to do with the people I interact with. They're going to probably resemble me culturally because that's who I interact with, right? So I know that it's not culturally specific, but I'm just based off what I see when we have those conversations about co-parenting or making more sacrifices to maintain our relationships and build our families together, keep our families together, it's usually the so-called black women who defend breaking the family up.
I read a unfucking fortunate stat, bro. It was like 71% or something stupid, bro, of black children are born out of wedlock. I'm like, how is that shit even remotely possible? Like,
I think that because we normalize teen pregnancy
but
or
everybody's fucking. right? So
Yeah,
so here,
yeah, but I'm
let me
saying
put it this way, right?
we
So
respond to it differently, is what I'm saying.
there was a conversation about um, the younger women and how more promiscuous they are, and I was watching. It was a documentary. I got to look that shit up. They were talking about the girls in high school that are having sex, but these girls are having anal sex and oral sex because they can't get pregnant. They're going into marriages virgins, but they freaks and whores and or whatever you want to consider it, right? And again,
Are these women in other cultures?
other cultures, absolutely other
Okay.
cultures,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. I can see
Because
that.
they are taking those steps. They doing wild shit, but they're like, I ain't getting pregnant,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And again, this was gonna be tough for me to say. I got to take a step back from my body count. Don't matter. I got to take a step back from it, bro.
Uh-oh.
I got to take a step back from it because I look at it and I'm like, for y'all that have these enormous ass body counts, it do really matter, right?
Explain why you think it matters.
Because when I look at this, every chick that I've come across that says I don't want a family or marriage don't matter, they done been ran through, bro. Right? And I'm like, oh, your perception is fucked up. You don't want to. You really. I don't know if they don't want or they just say that shit. I think it's a self defense mechanism. But you say
In
you
most
don't
cases, it is.
like if I apply for 150 fucking jobs and nobody hired me, I can't run around talking about how fucked up these companies are. I have to look internally and say this is on me,
Right. That's what
right?
I'm saying. That's yeah. Yeah.
And so I took a step back, right? Because again, I'm from a different culture, a different era. Let me say that. I don't say culture, different era. Because bro, I'm not gonna sit here and bullshit you. I grew up with some freaky motherfuckers, right? But we had I'm probably in trouble. We had a 30-year high school reunion recently, and I'm looking at all these married motherfuckers, and I'm like, I remember, yeah, she was a hoe, she was a hoe, he was wild. Like I look, but everybody settled down, right? It was a different environment then. Today,
I think we also, not to cut you off, but I think we do. There is a difference between, even though they most of the time they often align. There is a difference between being freaky and being promiscuous. You know what I'm saying? You could be freaky with,
true story.
one person or
No,
two.
no, I'm with you,
You
100%,
know what
bro.
I mean?
True
So
story.
I think there's like you said, though there are other cultures that they'll do wild things, and but there it's not with an abundance of people. You know what I'm saying? Like I
What's
think
up, Robin?
was that what up, Robin? Um, I think that there's a cultural component where oftentimes we use sex to bond, and that's not healthy. You know what I mean? Other cultures, I don't think if anything, they use sex they might experiment with sex. You know what
Right.
I mean? I don't know, whatever their reasons is, but we use it as a bonding technique, and it's really not a bonding technique at all. You know what I'm saying? Like it's you do bond when you become intimate with somebody, but there are so many different layers of intimacy, and we culturally, I don't think that we understand that. So oftentimes we find ourselves laying with people, with each other, with no other intention other than
Right.
to
It's
bond.
sex only.
Yeah,
It's sex only,
and
right?
it just fucks a lot of things
and,
up.
and it's crazy because I think not having that, not growing up and seeing a normal relationship or normal interaction between opposite sexes, people like we've all seen the you can't take me to Cheesecake Factory for a date. Like what, bro? The expectations are insane for the people who are having these expectations. You there's here's how I'm gonna word it. A lot of people are dating outside their means, right? There are women who are like, you have to do this for me. And in reality, the people who can do it are like, why would I? Right? For you. Um, so Robin's right. Sex might be a distraction from what's going on in their life.
Can we get it? What's an example of that?
Bro, if life is fuck, I grew up in the hood and streets, and bro, I had sex way too early, right? Way too early.
But what was your? I mean, was it? How much did that have to do with what was going on in your life? You know what I mean?
I think it was a combination of we stumbled across some shit early that we probably should. We went looking for it. It wasn't like it was laid out. we went digging through some shit, found a this is how the crazy shit was. We been digging through some shit, found an old VCR tape, put it in with some freaky shit, and we reenacted that. But that
Right.
was.
So I took what she was saying as like
But hold
people are
on though,
using sex as an outlet. You know what I mean?
and I'm gonna go with that though, right?
Okay.
Because a lot of people, like, there wasn't a whole lot of shit for us to do, right? We could play outside and we could fuck, right? There. We didn't have a lot of opportunity. So for a lot of people, it wasn't, it wasn't. We were all having sex way too young where I grew up. It was a fucked up situation. It's how we dealt with shit because we didn't have those other outlets that we didn't play like other kids played. Bro, and again, I'm not proud of this shit by any means. I think if you could hold on your virginity till you were past 20, that's a blessing, right? We were doing shit at 13 and 14 that I know grown adults that wouldn't do right now.
So culturally though, shouldn't that be the standard? I mean, even
It should be.
I guess you don't want to necessarily put a time on your virginity.
You
but
want
I'm
to put
saying,
outside of high school.
yeah. I mean, yeah.
Let's put a time on it.
In
right?
terms of where you start to entertain it, like it should be other things that you are,
You should be playing as a kid, bro.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You should be
yeah.
outside having fun.
or learning better and more healthier social skills. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So
I think
Robin
that's the
says
difference.
sex releases oxytocin and naturally in the brain. It makes you feel good. But there's other shit that you're supposed to be doing. Right?
They can
as an
also
adult,
release oxytocin as well. But I understand what she's saying. Like it does become a drug. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
and so
But having kids by motherfuckers who ain't gonna support the kids and then talking about how hard it is to be a single mom is crazy when you did it 3, 4, 5 times in a row.
that's the part I'm tired of.
Like if I keep running my head into a fucking brick wall, bro, the brick wall ain't the problem.
Hey, I at this point in humanity and culturally, I do not feel sorry for anybody who has children under irresponsible circumstances. I do.
You can, bro.
I don't
and
care
I'm guilty
who
of
it
feeling
is.
sad for. And I'm like, oh, okay, dude, probably there's no bullshit, bro.
No,
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some dudes out here bullshitting, but you can see it with your eyes. Right? This is
two things can be true. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a counter. I'm not saying that anybody should get off easy, not for not taking responsibility. I'm saying that we all know as if you want to say race, right? I just say culture, but as a culture, we all know what our condition is culturally in that department, and we all know basic sex education. Like
I mean, you have sex unprotected, you trying to have a baby.
right, and a lot of us come from broken families, so we know enough. Now we have enough intel to know that we need to shift. And there needs to be a concerted effort from us culturally and what we normalize instead of just saying, like normalizing this whole co-parenting. Like why I seen somebody post today actually how a lot of people it was a female. A lot of people like to say that co-parenting is hard, but I'm here to say it's not when two people decide this. And she was I guess crediting her
Big
ex.
up in the co-parenting.
And it was people co-signing that. There's not, to me, that you
Bro,
failed. You
Step
failed.
outside of our community, and that shit is not common.
It doesn't exist. I agree.
Right?
100%.
And it's fucked up because, again, I've been outside of our community, unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to look at it, my entire life. I've been exposed to other people. Like, this shit is, you can't be, our culture is the only culture where you can have 4 or 5 baby daddies and everybody's like, it's okay. Everybody's story different. Nah, this story's the fucking same, bro. You picked a dude who you knew wasn't shit. And I'm not giving dude a pass. Let me clarify. Right? I'm not giving no dude a pass who's not holding his responsibilities down.
Of course not.
And
Of
I've
course
been
not.
hard on that. I've been like, it's the dude's fault. But listen, if you know I ain't shit and you still give me the opportunity to knock you up repeatedly, so you don't get pregnant on the first chance, you don't get pregnant on the second chance, you get pregnant on the 35th time we had unprotected sex. What are you trying to accomplish? I have to imagine it's got to feel like heroin for the first time when a man busting a woman the way these motherfuckers is letting dudes busting them and have babies. Like, I don't know who's raising kids, but this shit's not cheap, bro. Right? And to do it alone is crazy. Let me see what Robin said. Robin said, y'all go.
But this is an ongoing conversation, so
I mean,
we
this is
can,
reality, right?
yeah, we definitely gonna have opportunity for you to give your input for sure.
I'm done being nice, bro. I'm done pretending that everybody don't have the common sense of a fucking snail, right? We know right from wrong.
That's all I'm saying.
I'm Robin. I'm not talking about you. I'm speaking the truth. You know, I love you. God damn it, from heart, from deep in my heart. But reality is reality, right? There's no reason for us to make decisions that we know are stupid as fuck. Right? Men don't get, bro. If I went to jail 3 times for selling drugs, how many times are y'all gonna tell me I'm stupid? Like, do something
That
different.
you don't even get that many times because we know what. Okay, just realistically speaking, if you selling drugs, the whole reason why you are discreet when you're selling drugs because you know what the outcome is. I understand how this shit can go. So I'm not judging
Right,
the
right.
the idea, right? But I'm saying to do it and then expect sympathy if you get caught, that to me doesn't make sense. Just like it doesn't make sense for you to expect sympathy if you have to raise a child on your own if you were dealing with somebody who had not demonstrated that they are committed to the relationship for the
Bro.
long run.
So here's the craziest shit, right? I hear women complaining about, oh, he paid $25 a week in child support. He pays $75 a month in child support. And I'm like, bro, like, it's weird to me because you fuck with a dude who only could do that. If you are going to fuck with somebody that you're not going to have a relationship with, at least pick a motherfucker who can provide your kid a decent life.
Right. And what do you expect? So I mean, because a man that's willing to give you essentially unlimited resources to raise your child probably is going to be with you. Is going to be responsible enough and committed enough and dedicated
Worst
enough
case scenario, you can eat and your kids can eat.
right. Y'all wouldn't even be in a situation where he has to even pay child support if that was the case. Right. But I just think that it's so much bigger than that. I think child support just provides another platform or another space for us to deflect from the fucked up decisions that we make in
Child
as a
support to
culture.
me is like minimum wage for taking care of your kid, right?
Exactly. And guess what? Honestly, I just don't quite understand. Like we normalize child support. You will see men say, "Hey, I'm pro child support." Well, pro child support means you are pro broken
Separated family.
family. Like that,
Right.
I'm not pro child support. And isn't it strange that child support is only about the finances of it? We don't argue about missed time.
Responsibility,
You know
right?
what I
Spend
mean?
time
Like,
with your kids.
because that's what matters more than anything. Like because let's just be honest. Finances, well, they determine the level of comfortability you have, but the
There's
detriment
some
of most,
happy motherfuckers in the trailer parks, bro.
right? And hey,
Living with
facts,
a single wide trailer
facts,
with a wife, a husband, and 4 fucking kids in 1 bedroom.
bro. I
You
didn't even
can make it
realize.
like, bro. I'm gonna keep it real. I think again. So I've been through the whole gamut of life, right? From with nowhere we would not knowing where we sleep in the night to being able to fly to Miami for dinner and come back. When I had nothing, love was a shit, right? Like that was it. That was valuable. It's still valuable. Don't get me wrong. I'm
Yeah.
not disputing it. I'm saying that was valuable. But I see people who are starting families. I'm not. You know what? I'm done calling it a family. A family is a husband, a wife, and kids, or a husband and a wife. It is not a family, in my opinion, if there was no intent for that to create something better,
I agree.
right? There are people who are having children. Mind you, my kids didn't ask to be here. My grandson didn't ask to be here.
No
But
kid has to be
they
here.
here. It is your fucking responsibility to have some kind of decency of saying, okay, I'm going to at least try my best. I'm going to give my kid the best opportunity. But too many of our women are like, I don't need a man. You maybe you don't, but your kid does. You 3, 4, 5 baby daddies deep. How you don't need a man? Because you
Well,
keep stumbling across these motherfuckers, right? That you using. Like,
let me
bro,
ask you this. Do you think, what are your thoughts on the idea that, or the assertion that oftentimes women prioritize their happiness over the the progress or the sustainability of the family.
So, if you'd asked me this shit 2 months ago, I'd have been like, I think you deserve to be happy over everything else. But in reality, when you have a kid, you put your happiness on the back burner. Bro, I stopped working 5 minutes before I got on this motherfucking podcast. Not because I wanted to fucking work, because I have to take care of my family. Right? I have people who depend on me. Your happiness is important to your overall mental well-being. But my happiness cannot come before my kids' necessities. Or I'm a piece of shit. Just gonna keep it, I don't have a better way to word it.
And
If I'm like, listen, I know it would be beneficial for you to be in this household and for me and your mom to be cordial, but she pissed me off the other day, so fuck her and fuck you too. I'm a piece of shit.
because
Right?
how I like we know I think it's understood that gross negligence and blatant abuse is I understand that.
Right.
Like, I
Let's
understand
let's
shouldn't-
stop pretending that we want motherfuckers to stay around getting beat up. Nobody does.
But you know what I see in that space when we talk about abuse or negligence, I see a lot oftentimes.
Robin tripping.
Man,
Hey, Robin, I love
Robin,
you, but there ain't no
what-
fucking reason you should have more than one baby daddy.
And what difference do Robin, 4 or 5 and 3 is
The same.
damn, yeah, in terms of what we talking about. We know it on paper that shit looks it might look different on paper, but we're talking about like
You gotta have a dead motherfucker to justify 3, 4, 5. Like somebody had to die and they just got X'd out of the situation.
very unique circumstances. I'll say that. Right?
Rare and unique. And
I'm
not died in the
including that.
shootout. If he died in the shootout, you probably shouldn't have fucked with him to start.
But I'm included in that, so it don't bother me. You're right. It doesn't.
Reality is reality, bro. That's what I said earlier about, listen, if you talk about fat, short, bald motherfuckers, I can't be mad at you because I fit that category.
Right.
Right? Now, granted, I didn't pick my height, right? But the bald and the fat shit, I eat a lot. When I get off this motherfucker, I'm probably going to Burger King.
But it makes
Like,
me
that's
more,
my choice.
It actually makes me more qualified for the conversation.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? But I don't know, man. I just think that we really just use a lot of we take opportunities to deflect from just the reality of how fucked up we are individually and collectively when we talk about this subject.
I'm going to add another element to it. If you try to be a decent motherfucker around a lot of sisters, they're going to start throwing sassy at you, call you gay. This is the same group who loves gay black men, right? But the moment you do some fuck shit that they don't agree with, then now you sassy.
That's
Right?
weird to me.
It's weird as fuck. I'm like, okay, listen, again, I have friends of all walks of life, bro. And I know I might differ from some other people. I have friends who are trans. I have friends who are gay. I have friends who are lesbian. I have friends of all walks of life. I love all my friends the same. I don't give a fuck what you do in your bedroom. I don't give a fuck. That's your business. Right? And I'm not going to even knock you because you do some different shit than me, because I do some wild shit in my room. Right? But the people who love these dudes the most will use that same shit to try to knock a dude.
I think we need to put a marker there because I think that's a whole conversation within itself, because it does need to be made clear that because whenever we address it, then they start trying to come with more insults like, oh, you must be curious or this and that. And it's like we're not talking about, it doesn't matter to me. It ain't about the sexual preference, right? Or that community. It's about how the hypocrisy in y'all. You know what I mean? In a group of
100%.
women. Like
100%.
that's my thing. Like if you how is it okay up until the point, because the way that a lot of so-called black women celebrate, connect with, and protect and advocate for homosexuality, it should not be an insult for
How is it?
black men to have these traits, right? How is it an insult?
Listen, this the same motherfucker you was sleeping with. Now all of a sudden, now he ain't no good. Now he gay. Now he sweet. Now he
If
sassy.
you gay, you should love him more. Y'all, you should love him just like you
Dude,
love your homeboy, right?
Like, bro, I can imagine me being cool with somebody, right? Me being cool with somebody. Let's say I got an Asian home, right? And we kick it on a regular. We hang out, and he see a motherfucker he don't like, and they acting stupid. Like, oh, you acting like a black dude. Like, what the fuck, bro?
Right.
Right?
But
But these,
that's how it sounds.
and I look at him like, wait, but y'all was cool 2 minutes ago. So is this a degrading statement? Or are you
That's
giving
why I
dude
said-
props?
That's why I said we need to have a whole segment on
Right. I took a quick note, right, on where we are in that one, so we can come back to it. But, bro, I'm at that point where I just can't pretend no more. I can't give the benefit of the doubt. I have to be realistic about the shit that's realistic.
Yeah. So I don't. So ultimately, for me, my position is this: I don't think that so-called black women actually have a problem with so-called black men dating so-called white women or any other race for that matter. I think it's just the easy way to deflect. I truly
I'm
don't.
gonna disagree.
You disagree?
Here's why. Because they think I deserve a man like that. Right? Because if it's a broke dude with no money and no, they don't give a fuck. Literally don't give a fuck. But I've heard myself personally, oh, you got some money, now you fuck with a white chick. Bro, I can throw you a picture from 92 when we was both on the motherfucking porch where I had nothing. You don't want to hear that.
No, I
Right?
agree with you.
When I was in the streets hustling and making insane amounts of money, and my girl was like, hey, babe, listen, I love you. I don't care about the money. Stop that shit. If we got to be poor, we got to be poor. Y'all wasn't there for that. Right?
I
A
understand what you're saying.
lot of sisters is it's not. I don't think. I think it matters because they feel like, as a black woman, I deserve a black man who does this, regardless of what I've done in my past. My girl, my wife, I love her to death. If she would have came to me with multiple baby daddies, we wouldn't be together. Right? It's not her skin that I'm fucking with. It's her personality. It's who she is. It's her
Right.
character.
Yeah, I get that.
Right?
Yeah.
But a lot of sisters feel like you should pick me because I look like your mama, regardless of this. My mama didn't do that dumb shit. Right?
So that's the part that I'm saying. Okay, so I guess what I'm saying is like I've seen black women act like this about other black women. They'll say, okay, if a man, okay, I'll give you an example. Say this man has a baby with this woman, this black woman. Then they don't work. And then he goes over here and he meets a black woman who has a child and he's with her. Then they'll criticize him for, oh, you can go raise somebody else's child but not your own. And it has nothing to do with that. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, no doubt.
Or
No
I've
doubt.
seen black women criticize how another black woman looks. Oh, she, you know what I mean? Like they'll compare themselves. That's what I mean. It's like anything to deflect from the fact that no, you just aren't
Accountability
it.
is not the primary trait. Right? And I'm with you on that. So I agree with you to a certain extent. You're right. Regardless, it's always going to be the other chick.
Yeah, they
Right?
think I do agree 100% though that they'll start saying I deserve a man like that, and it's like you don't even understand that this woman, she earned that place in that man's life. You know what I mean?
Bro,
Like
I've
she
heard
worked
chicks talk about how good my pussy's amazing. Bro, every woman
And
has a
that
pussy.
means- that
No
means
disrespect to no woman in that. I'm not trying to be funny. A vagina comes natural if you're born that way. Right? Every
Right.
woman has one. Some are better than others.
Hey, but for the
They
most
will all
part,
dry up one day, bro.
right? And for the most part, as long as it don't stink, you know what I mean? Like
And it's pink.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
it's
We straight.
really- yeah, it's like everything outside of that has to do with your personality. But I actually learned the most about this subject from my brother. You know, because you know he is in a quote unquote interracial relationship, and before that, I didn't quite understand it, but when you actually open your mind, because I realized that my mind wasn't open, you know what I mean, as open as I thought it was. But when it's somebody who you respect and you know, then you know what I mean, you automatically become more objective, right? So I had a conversation with it, but I actually watched it, right? It's like one thing is like for me to, because you can have a conversation with a person about, you know, their why, and it's like you still might be like, it just sounds like, you know, that happens within this. You can find this in any other culture, right? But that's not the point. The point is that I was in a space where I prioritized these traits from a woman, and it didn't matter who it was, and it just so happened to be this person. And when you watch it, and then you get it, like you get it, and you
bro. So excuse me for interrupting.
now you good.
You touched on something that's amazing. So I had this conversation with my homie. He's like, bro, I want to marry a black woman. I said, I respect that. I said, but you putting that as your first rule. So you're ignoring everything that comes behind it. I said, bro, you've been having nonstop problems with these women you choosing. Because when they meet that first priority, that's where you stop giving a fuck about the rest. I said, I'm not saying don't marry a black woman. I'm saying put that as the last piece of your must-haves. I'm not saying take it off your list. That's still a requirement. I want you to marry a sister, but make that her skin the last piece of it. When you
See,
make it the first, right?
I
You
think,
don't care about the rest because she met
yeah.
that criteria.
So that's interesting. Now that you say that, I think that oftentimes when we say, when a person says the race first, right? They're in the forefront. They're trying to assert it as if they're speaking of the race, but in reality, you're talking about the aesthetic. You seem more
100%.
you're more attracted to black women, which
there's
is
nothing wrong with
fine,
that, bro.
right? But you're not seeing past that.
And
So
that's the problem.
when you prioritize, you're going to come because there's black women everywhere, but there are a lot of fucked up black women. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of fucked up women of all races, but we right. But you're right. In the
So
USA,
just like if a person say, if a man is more attracted to white women, it's like if you just more attracted to white women and you put that first, then you're gonna end up with a motherfucker. You gonna like, let's say,
it's horrible,
right? I mean,
bro.
at the end of the day, that's what it's gonna come down to.
I have been married. I've been a white woman for multiple decades. If a black dude comes to me, hey, bro, I fuck with you. I don't fuck with sisters. I don't fuck with black bitches. I've heard dudes say that. I'm like, bro, I don't fuck with you. Don't come to me because I have a white woman thinking I don't fuck with black women because I love everybody, right? I don't fuck with people who put a specific. I try to avoid it. If you say I'm only fucking with white chicks, I'm like, bro, you have no value in the woman you're dealing with. You're fucking with a skin tone, right? Like you see that skin tone as superior to other people, regardless of the other features. And every dude I know that has been through that shit, white, black, Mexican, whatever it matters, always end up with fucked up situations because you taking that first thing that you. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying if your preference is this, you shouldn't do it. I'm saying take that preference and say a woman has to meet all of these qualities and this instead of
Yeah.
saying she got to meet this and then you just say fuck the rest of the quality.
Right. I think that in that vein, that specific vein, and I'll speak for myself. I think the difference is if you're doing it for relatability and compatibility versus insecurity.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Like if I say, my preference is, so-called black women for purposes of relatability and compatibility, like from a cultural standpoint, that's different from I think I'm gonna be judged or I'm gonna judge myself if I date outside of my race. It's gonna be about how people look at me. That's
Right.
where I think, and I think for that matter, you're not gonna be able to be successful in a relationship no matter because you have an archetype of you like her primary quality just has to be her ethnicity, and if that's it, then that's the most shallow. Like I agree, it's the most shallow aspect of because you know why? Because none of us have control over that. You know what I mean? We have control
Right.
over every other aspect of our
Right.
lives.
That's shit we born with. I tell my homie who he constantly says, I only want to fuck with sisters, right? But he's like, bro, I might be done with them. I'm like, don't do that. You want this, have it. Because to me, if you only want to marry a black woman and you end up with a Mexican woman, you settling for some shit you really didn't want. That's not you, right? You're accepting something you don't want because you didn't put the effort in to get the one you want. Now, you might only want to sit, but you might have to adjust what that is.
But
She
yeah,
might not be a 10.
But no, remember. But do you remember when I was saying that like we need to? I think I was speaking specifically to so-called black men. It's like we need to reevaluate our idea of what a black woman is. When we think black woman, we literally are speaking really the archetype of a black woman in America.
Right, because
Because
there's a million different variations.
In Brazil, there are Mexican
Bro,
black women.
I'm gonna say it this way: black women only exist in the USA.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's what I mean.
There are women of different hues and different nationalities. I traveled the world, right? I remember the first time I landed outside the United States, and somebody, hey, where you? I'm black. Like black what? Like that's not enough information.
But
Like you're American, bro.
We don't
Right.
have, but we don't have no cultural identity here. We've been brainwashed I believe we are truly indigenous to this land, like we are in every other land, right? But we believe that we were brought here from Africa, and it's like, if you do a genetics test, 95% of us, I believe, are not going to have any ancestry over in Africa for real.
Minimal at best.
Yeah, I just, or you're going to have like you're not going to have more than what there are so-called white people who have more African, just as much African ancestry. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like, people don't realize that there are so-called white people they don't believe that they are indigenous to Africa, but they are, right?
Right.
That's just,
I mean, you've been there 3, 4, 5 generations. You African.
I'm saying,
Right.
like, for real. Like, but if you don't believe that you are indigenous to the land, then you don't really have an identity. So you really can't think outside of that. No?
But here's the problem. When we think, if I was to line up all traditional American black women, unfortunately, it's going to be unmarried, kids out of wedlock, probably multiple baby daddies. That's fucked up. But that's a lot of what, at least in the Midwest. I can't speak to California or New York. I ain't there.
What percentage are we talking?
Too many. More than it should be. Right? Again, like I referenced earlier, it was blackdemographics.com study said 71% of black babies born out of wedlock. Men ain't having babies. Men ain't birthing babies. Right? It's a fucked up situation. And instead of us acknowledging and addressing it, we try to justify it. I don't want to be a wife. Which is cool. No woman should be forced to be a wife.
No,
But if you're going to be a mother,
you should be a wife.
you realize that the obligation of being a wife is the small one. Right? Like you're a wife for as long as you want to be a wife. You're a mother for eternity.
So what after the first? Okay, obviously acknowledging it is, and we acknowledge it, right? What is the most practical second step to rectifying this issue culturally?
Stop pretending the shit is okay to have babies out of wedlock.
Okay.
Stop. Okay, I'm even going a step further. Let's. I'm gonna give you a pass on the baby out of wedlock. Stop pretending it's okay to have babies with people you barely fucking know.
Okay.
Right?
So
Stop pretending that having a kid with somebody you plan on having no relationship with is just okay.
Okay. So let's talk about, or you give me your idea of what it means to know someone.
Listen, if you haven't spent, I'm gonna go with 3 to 4, 5 years with somebody you don't really know. Excluding some young people who if you meet somebody at 16 and y'all have a baby at 20, well, you've known them 25% of your life. But if you are 25 and you have a baby or get pregnant by somebody you met a year ago, you don't know shit. Right? Robin, you are not being attacked.
Man, what is Robin talking about?
Listen, no, I want to touch on that because that's some shit we have internally. I'm gonna go back to what I said 3 or 4 times already. Bald, short, fat, that's me. You ain't attacking me because you talked about it. I was that whether you said it or not.
It's
Robin,
how you feel about yourself.
I
really.
love you, but we have nothing to do with the number of baby daddies you had. You had them without us. If this shit didn't exist, you would still have the same number of baby daddies. Right? We ain't the baby daddies. None of us. Neither one of us have knocked you up. That shit ain't got nothing to do with this conversation. Right? You're not attacked. You feel attacked because you're in that situation.
She said she was tricked.
You listen, you was dicked. You was dicked. Right? Let's not pretend. And I love you to death. And I'm fucking with this red cup. So forgive me for the truth. Your situation is intentional. At least the last situation. You knew this dude didn't want babies. You told me. He said he didn't want to have any more kids.
Right? She's acting like we ain't had this conversation.
Right. This is not me bringing up some shit that was offline. We talked about this shit. Robin said right in this motherfucking, it's a chair you can't see. She said, right this motherfucking chair and talked about this shit and then turned around and did the shit she talked about.
That's what I mean by saying I'm like, you actually explain the shit in a way that makes it harder for me to understand how did this happen then?
That red, and the red cup may get you in trouble, goddammit. Your legs up got you in trouble. Right?
Yeah,
Listen,
because I refuse to believe that she's the type of person that gonna drink her way into some promiscuity. I don't believe that.
I like Robin. I love you, and I know you better than that. You have total control of the choices you make.
Absolutely, 100%.
We all do. There's exceptions,
yeah.
right? People get taken advantage of and shit like that.
No,
but,
we ain't talking about that.
They are outside of this conversation.
And then we talking about like that's what I'm saying. People who like just you better off just saying like yeah I was just on bullshit because
But you can't be on bullshit when a kid is involved. And that's where
but we do be because I mean
we're not on bullshit, bro. It's intentional. I know exactly. I knew what it took to have a baby when I had a baby. What Lex say? She said that's yeah. So your post was one I was talking about, right? She shared the post about co-parenting not being a flex, right? And I told her, I said, I commented on that shit. I'm like, people feel attacked because their situation fits them. That shit was true before you shared it, right? Co-parenting is second best.
what was people's issue with it for real though?
It hit home, bro.
But what were they saying? Like how what's the
I don't know because again, I'm biased. The shit don't make sense to me. I'm not co-parenting with. Listen, I'm not co-parenting. We had kids. We're gonna raise these fucking kids, right? I'm not. So co-parenting to me is us being in the same house,
right? That's what I'm saying. Like,
right, with the same last name, right?
Yeah.
We are parenting together. Co-parenting is not, bro. Again, I don't know how I feel about this, right? I don't know if it's beneficial to a kid to go back and forth, weekends here, weekends there, summer here. I don't know.
I do, and it's okay. So for me, for a person that has literally lived,
Hey, hold on real quick. She said the people who commented didn't even co-parent. They just, they were just upset. I think a lot of people we get mad, right? Listen, this is reality. If somebody make a fat joke, fat people get mad. You was fat before the joke. I'm fat. I'm not finna, bro. That's reality, right? You cannot be mad at the situation you are in because you were in that. Most of us put ourselves in these situations. I know men and women who have kids by multiple people. I don't personally like. For me, it never made sense to me. It never made sense for me to say I'm gonna have. And it's weird. I'm gonna give you one of my reasoning. I was always paranoid that I would have two kids in two different places who had a Christmas event or some kind of school event on the same day. And bro, I don't care what reality. One kid can be 4 miles away, and the other can be 400. Whichever one you pick, the other one's gonna be pissed. And then to add on top of that, whoever mama you with is where you really gotta go. Otherwise, your whole life is fucked.
Yeah.
Right? I never wanted to be in that situation.
I guess I guess I never understood how two people can quote unquote co-parent, right? They can do everything that a husband and wife should do with their child except coexist under the same roof. Like if you can do all these different things, if you can co-parent, then you can actually raise the child together under the same roof, right? Like
why bring a third person or fourth person into your kid's life?
I don't like what.
And most
so
of these people rotate people, bro. Right? Like
and then,
I
and
know
then
people.
add a kid.
I got a homie who has 0 kids and about 4 grandkids. Right? I'm like,
what? Hold on, what?
You heard that right. He has 0 children. He older than me, right? 0 children and 4 grandkids. I'm like, that shit don't make no sense to me.
So he
didn't adopt anybody. These chicks he used to date who had kids, they had kids, and he still fuck with them, right? I'm like, bro, but I understand your desire to be a part of those kids' lives, but they have real fathers, they have real grandfathers.
I don't understand the desire because I'm like I said,
he has 0 kids.
Is his desire to have a child of his own, or
I'm under the impression my guy can't have none because he got 0 kids.
that
right?
seems like it would make it more difficult for me. if I couldn't even have my own. You know what I'm
I
saying?
don't. I'm weird. I don't want anybody else's children, bro.
That's not weird. I'm saying that if I can't have children, like I can understand where okay, I met a woman, I'm into her, she has a child, right? And so I'm willing to accept that. Say child is cool. Say the child's dad he is irrelevant, whether it be due to death or incarceration or whatever, and you and the child have a solid bond, right? I still want my own child, right? I don't understand being okay with that. Just being, I'm okay with just this is, and I've seen it. I honestly, and I just still, I could never understand it. I want my own child.
I want. Listen, it's hard. So we don't carry children. They don't grow in our stomachs. We don't birth children, right? So for us, I think it's different, right? And I'm not making an excuse. What
But I
I
need to
mean is,
understand that more from a woman. Why do women?
a woman's child is her child, no matter what.
Right.
No woman has ever been. No dude's ever like, you thought that was your baby. It's not to a chick. It's never happened, right? That child grew inside of them, so they have a different love for the children than I do, than we do as men. Bro, I've said I was 12 years old when I figured out I was not stepdaddy material. I'm just like, that shit's not for me.
But I still think women are inherently better at adopting, children that's not theirs or nurturing children
Because they
that's not
love,
theirs
they
than
had
men
a
are.
kid. They know the love that's there, right? For a lot of men, for lack of better words, we bust a nut and the baby's born. Right? We didn't carry the baby. We went through the
Yeah,
experiences and
that's
things
what I
like that,
mean.
but the baby didn't grow inside of us. Women are nurturers.
That's another conversation, though. I think that we need to acknowledge that we don't bond the same. Like a woman's bond with her child is more instinctive. We already know it's our child. We are possessive. We are protectors. We are responsible, right? We know that our responsibility to that child, but we actually have to grow that bond with that child. You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask a question, and I know your answer, but women are not going to understand it. And this is a hypothetical, so my apologies. You got a kid. At 17 years old, you find out he's not yours. How do you respond?
If the child is 17 years old,
17, the child is 17, and you are now made aware the kid is not yours. Me personally, I'm done.
yeah, I'm done. And
done.
no disrespect to the kids.
It's not his fault. He deserves a relationship with his dad.
The I guess what I would allow that kid to do.
Oh, we can kick it.
Is have access to me.
Right, we can kick it, we can
That's
chill,
it.
but you are not my child.
You're not my child.
From that day forward, our relationship is different.
Nah,
Most women will like, oh, you've already been here because it's not. I'm not knocking them. There's a difference.
Absolutely not. You know what? I would probably be more invested in helping him find his dad.
Right. Let's find your daddy because your mama wasn't shit.
Yeah. I mean that's really it, and like that's it. Like I'm there
You're
as
not
more of
mine,
a
bro.
resource. You're not my child. Like that's
I'm not, whatever.
the
However I
top.
treated you yesterday is not the same tomorrow.
off the top.
Because every time I look at you, I'm gonna realize. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she was uncertain.
no,
but I'm gonna look
no,
at you and be like, "Oh, your mama knew."
No, she shouldn't be uncertain. If being uncertain is the same thing is to me is the same thing as like it's not mine. If it's not mine until you're certain. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
That's
But if you let me rock 17 years with a kid and I find out he's mine, if I never saw that kid again, I'm okay.
But you're still gonna be traumatized by 17
I'm fucked.
years
I'm not
of
saying
your
I'm
life.
okay. I'm okay.
Right,
I'm
I'ma be
saying
fucked.
if I never see that kid again, that's not my problem.
Nah.
It's not my kid.
in-
It's like me
in a
not
lot of
seeing somebody
cases-
else's kid.
In a lot of cases,
I probably
it'll be
don't want to
best.
see him.
It'll be best. Yeah.
Right.
Like,
Because that's
what I'm
pain I don't
saying.
need.
Yeah, what I'm saying is like it's because I understand that this person is innocent in the matter. He is innocent.
Kid has nothing to do with shit.
I'm not going to traumatize you even further by giving you a big fuck you, right? But as a man, it's going to have to be made clear that our relationship is changed.
Listen.
And my obligation to you is very
I got love for you, right? I got love for you because you had zero choice in this matter. But this is not my fault.
You know
either.
what? The more I think about it, we can't. We it's not gonna work because your
Every
mama,
time I look at you, I'm
your
gonna be
mama,
pissed.
Your mama op, right? And I don't. you
You
have to
definitely gonna
respect,
choose your mom over me,
right? But I'm
and I respect that.
how I'm going to refer to her is not going to be healthy. That's
Not at all.
so I'm saying it's not going to be good. You know what I mean? Like I would just
Bro,
be,
I just posted something, or I saw something. Excuse me.
damn.
It
That's a hell
it
of a
was a
question.
19-year-old dude who he was grown, right, 19,
Yeah.
took it upon himself to get a DNA test. Found out the dude he thought was his dad wasn't his dad.
What was his reason for doing it? If you can you
I
remember?
don't know the reason, but he must have knew his mama, right?
Okay.
His mom was mad at him for doing that shit. And I'm like, I'm not gonna speak to her culture. I'm gonna let you guess. Uh, but his mom was mad at him
Right.
for taking it
Hey,
upon himself,
hey,
right? And I'm like, bro, that's crazy. That's crazy work that you can do that, right? As a man, we have never been able to blame our baby on a woman that wasn't the mom,
hey. I'm a,
right?
hey.
Like we don't have that capability. It's impossible.
I'm gonna share some shit with you when we end this motherfucking boy.
Ooh, wait.
Tell
Let me see
you.
where 11
I'm
o'clock
gonna
is over.
tell
All right,
you.
when we get there, we go. Listen, bro. I had a homie, his little brother. I guess it was big brother. Was married for some years, and one day he got in a fight with his wife, and she said that's why these kids ain't yours. They had three of them, bro, and she was
And
100% right,
what?
which tells me you knew the whole time, bro. And I'm not talking about triplets
I
that
think
were six
oftentimes
months old.
I think most of the time they do know. I think you know what I mean. Like I think most of the time they
It's
do know. You may have them times where it's like they did some back to back fucking and you know what I
right.
mean. But they,
Legitimately, he was on some wild shit, and you were
yeah,
uncertain.
but most of the time they be knowing.
It's 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 crazy, man, that there are men. Bro, it was a chick, and again, I'll let you guess culture. It was a chick on my Facebook, and she's like, I know bitches who got babies by dudes who think they're the father, they're not. And I'm like, I'm like, that's super fucked up that you even associate with people like that.
Man, that's what you. This is across the culture. Like I'm saying, that's what
Like
I'm.
you associate with a woman who is blaming a man for a kid who has a man thinking a child is here. Like,
Nigga, do you know how
bro,
many
that is
secrets are
a
going to the
murder
grave?
case.
Do you know how many secrets have went to and are going to the grave with a lot of women from our culture?
Bro. And these are the same people that get mad when a dude fuck around with a different chick.
That's right. So, hey, I don't, bro.
Fam,
Hey, man.
I listen. My and I've said this before. I said this recently. My stance on people dating women with children has changed slightly. You could be a divorcee, right? I got respect for that. You can be a widow, or you can be Muslim, and that's the only legitimate excuse. I couldn't fuck with an American chick that had kids because I gotta. I don't know, bro. My maybe I'm biased.
No, I don't think. I think, yeah, you actually made the decision that all of us should have made.
Listen,
Honestly,
I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that me and my wife didn't have problems. We didn't fight. We didn't have difficulties. That's reality. But we sat down and we're like, listen, yes, this was a bad day, right? Yes, this was a bad week, or this was a bad month, or this was a bad quarter. But we created something. We agreed that this was the way to do it. How do we get through or work through? There's some shit you can't work through. That's reality, right? You physically fucking somebody up. You're doing all this crazy shit. There's some shit you can't. I expect people to work through. I give everybody a pass on abuse of any kind,
right? That's what I'm saying. That
right?
equates to abuse or neglect, and
That's
that's we
that's
get that.
understood. Don't need to be said. But to say, listen, I'm unhappy. This ain't working. Let me leave, and then I'm gonna have a baby by somebody else, and I'm unhappy that ain't working. What are you doing, right? And
Bro.
bro, here's where I again going back to the whole initial beginning of this shit, where I'm like, it's a lot of bitter sisters who get mad at dudes who fuck with white chicks. Here's the fucked up part. I know chicks that are mad at black dudes who fucking white chicks, but they hang with white chicks, right? Like if you are
Hold on, say that
allowing.
one more time.
Listen, there are white girls who only hang with black women who go to black events, and these same sisters be like, I don't understand why niggas be fucking with white girls. Like you fuck with a chick who goes to your cultural events to poach your men, and that's your
Yeah,
homie.
yeah.
Like
But
how can
you got a problem with that.
you got a problem with it like
Yeah.
understand? Here's the reality: if you go to any I don't care what your culture is, what your race is, what your religion is. If you had all Mexican girls and you put one black chick with them and they went out to a club where it's all Mexican dudes, that black chick's gonna stand out. She's different. She's gonna get the attention, right? You can't be mad if you are taking the white chicks to your events and she getting all the attention because I mean, bro.
That's why I'm saying it's too rampant for us to even address it in the way that we do. You know what I mean? I don't even think it's real. I just think it's something that we've been fed that and told that we should have an issue with it. But it's like, bro, this shit has been going on. I don't know. I guess some people do believe this still, but I refuse to believe that just because they tell us that it wasn't until this point in American history where it was legal that's when it started.
Bro,
like this shit's been
listen.
going on forever.
I've said this before. I'm like, I remember when I said I understand racism, and I preface that with imagine having all the money, all the land, all the resources, and owning people, and your woman's still out there fucking the slave dude. Right? I understand that would piss me off too.
But that's what they was doing.
That's what they were doing. It's been
And
since eternity, bro.
both of them were doing it. The wife and the other was doing it.
Right. It's 100%. There were mixed kids born to the house of slave masters, males who impregnated black women. There were white women who had sex with slaves. It's a reason they should hang black people and have us naked, bro, and cut penises off. Right? It was to discourage this shit. It's always been. This shit ain't new, right? This shit ain't new. And again, I'm biased, right? Because I'm gonna protect my wife over anybody. That's just who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's my responsibility. I made her my wife. Mm-hmm. So when certain conversations come up, she's always going to be protected by me. But that protection makes me actually realize real shit. Every black man that I know, unfortunately, has been killed by another black man. That has been killed by another. I don't know any brothers that have been killed by anybody else. So when I hear people talk about, white people should do this, you're right. It was fucked up. But right now, the threats that I grew up with didn't look different to me.
But that's actually across cultures. Like
Every culture is that way.
Most cultures, their violence is within that culture towards
Proximity.
each other than it is,
Yeah.
So, but you know what? One thing I want to say before we get out of here, is
Right, because
that,
I need to hear some shit in a second. Though.
yeah. But I'm saying, and the more I think about that decision that you said you made in terms of not deciding that at a very young age that you were not going to be parenting anybody's kids but your own. And I might post this shit. I'm at a point where certain things I think need to be said even more bluntly. I think that per our culture, as far as our condition, that so-called black men, that needs to be our standard. We need to make a decision that, hey, we not parenting anybody else's kids but ours, right? If that's to me would be a huge step for us in terms of really ridding the culture of our broken family syndrome.
Let me fuck you up and then we'll shut it down. You are not wrong. And most black women are telling their sons, do not raise somebody else's kid.
That is crazy too.
Hey, y'all. Hey, thank you for checking us out. I know we've been out the mix for a minute. We got it back in though. We'll keep doing this shit. Y'all stay with us. We greatly appreciate y'all.
100.
100.